another episode of The American Entrepreneur, where we interview entrepreneurs all over the world. As long as they're doing business in the United States, we want to hear their story. Maybe they went through something that they can share with you guys, and you can apply it to your own business and become successful. This episode is brought to you by MotivationUnleashedSeminar.com. New year, new you. MotivationUnleashedSeminar.com. All right, so the guest we have today his name is Nathan Lizotte. He's an internet marketing consultant in Lisbon, Maine. I'd like to welcome him and thank you very much for being a part of this, Nathan.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I love it.
I really appreciate you doing this, man. And you got the gist. I contacted you via Facebook. Really,
Yep.
the basic premise is you just tell us your story. What got you into entrepreneurship? Some of the highs and lows. You go over your story, and hopefully somebody out there is watching this, and they can take your story and apply it to their own life.
Sure. There are a couple different paths that have been presented to me along the way, but I'll start from when I was a young age of 7. My parents have been into marketing, multi-level marketing, other businesses for the past, I don't know, like 21, 22 something years on and off, and they haven't had much success. And I've been like on the outside looking in this entire time, just learning from them and their experiences. My profession, I do consulting online now, but I'm also a therapist. I've been a therapist for almost 16 years.
Wow.
And so I've really learned I've really learned like the humanistic side of everything, behavior and just the psychology of it all. And it's all been information I've just been soaking in. And what I do on a daily basis for helping people, that is my mission in life, to help as many people as possible. And
That's also
what got me into
everybody I'm meeting that are entrepreneurs that are really trying to become something and accomplish a lot. It's a common
yeah.
trait. They all want to give back. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's the inner philanthropist in all of us. And what I'm seeing now is this huge movement from not only the group of people that I've recently met, but from just everyone as a whole. Yes, they may or may not be actively promoting their business, but there's this true desire to help people. And that's something I've noticed. And going from 2016, there's just been such a roller coaster ride of everything across the globe. And I
Yeah.
feel that that's just kind of like that one commonality that we all have. And we're moving toward attraction marketing all over again rather than automation. And it's just such an amazing feeling because
Did you say
you actually get,
attraction marketing?
yeah,
I've never heard that term, to be honest with you. That's awesome to put it that way, though. That's exactly what it is. Can you elaborate more on that? That's awesome.
yeah, sure. Attraction marketing is about getting to know someone, building a relationship with them. It's not about, here's my link, go to it, sign up, I need money. It's more of that deep relationship. And I think what a lot of us are noticing now is that with attraction and marketing, not only are you able to build wide over a period of time, but you're also able to build deep. It makes it available to build deep and have that long-lasting residual income as a side effect to helping someone succeed in their own goals. And when you have that relationship, you're able to work with someone more closely, and you understand how they work and how you could support them in an efficient way. And that's something that I swear by. I mean, I do it every single day. When I'm working with families, I meet families that have referral problems that we work on, and we spend the next 3 to 5, sometimes 6 months working on them, and helping them get huge success in whatever goals that they have and what their desired outcomes are. And by applying this online, it's using the same concept, using what I know to help people online and help a much greater population of people, because the internet is so vast today that we didn't have 10 years ago.
Yeah, I always say, and no matter who it is, I always say that you can only listen to somebody for 80% of what they say. And the reason why is because that last 20% is they come from a different background. Their strengths are different than yours. You may come from nothing. They maybe have inherited a lot, or they were given resources you don't, or vice versa. So I always think that last 20% really is like the deal breaker, and that's why you have to find out who you are. And the person who can help you out the most is the person that knows most about you. That makes sense?
Right. And that's yourself.
Yeah.
It's yourself.
Exactly right.
one of the things, one of the foundations that I have is that no matter who I'm helping or what form or capacity I'm helping someone, I don't have the answers. The person has the answers, and what we do is allow someone to unlock those experiences in a structured way to find those answers. Because yes, they do know most about themselves and what their deepest, darkest secrets are, and how we bring that into internet marketing, or it could be ground marketing, whatever you're trying to do. I mean, nevertheless, no matter what job you're in, you're marketing something. You have a face and you're presenting some sort of product, whether you're in retail, social services, sales, it's you name it, you're providing a resource for someone to use, and you need to learn about them to
Exactly.
know if it fits. Um,
Exactly. I just
and
came.
so
I
that,
just came from an interview where basically everybody's in sales. They just don't know it. You know what I mean? That's basically what we were talking about.
yeah, mhm, right.
So,
And I
go
think
ahead. I'm
what's
sorry. I'm sorry about that. There's a little bit
uh,
delay here, so I apologize.
okay, no
Okay.
worries, go for
No, no,
it.
no, yeah, you were talking about how everybody's marketing themselves. I love talking about that because people don't really realize it. No matter what job you're in, no matter what entrepreneur industry you're in, you're always marketing yourself every day, no matter what.
Right. Uh, and when you bring this concept online onto the internet, onto Facebook or whatever social media platforms that you're using, uh, we are marketing to a much greater population. You have your Facebook set to public so people know what you're up to. People could find you and search you. And so everything that you're doing is being documented in some sort of way. And you oftentimes you have many people looking from the outside in, and you don't even know that they're even watching or following you. And then that one day they like what you're doing, say, "Hey, Nate. Hey, Mike. Wow, I've been following you. I haven't said anything yet, but I really like what you're doing. How can I be part of something like that? You're doing something that's awesome and massive. I've dreamed forever of doing it." And it really goes to show that when you have uh, a professional outlook and you treat your life as a business, but also as an enjoyable business, because you have to enjoy what you're doing.
That key word,
People,
enjoyable. That key word,
yeah,
enjoyable.
yes, and it's just being a therapist working in someone's home. If the evidence-based model I'm providing isn't something that I believe in, that I hold deep and try to use it in my home as well, I find out that if you don't have that belief in it, then how are you going to be able to instill that belief in someone else?
Yeah, makes
And
sense. Wait,
that's
why would they buy in if you're not fully in? Is that what you're saying? I mean, it's kind of common nature that leaders are the ones who are out there who believe in the product, the system, or their army, and they're maybe they are fearful, but they don't show it. So you have to you have to buy in 100%. And I think that no matter if you're in sales or if you're just a manager of a business, if you're not buying in completely, why else would your team or your customers buy in, right?
right, precisely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's
it's it's been quite the journey. When I took things online, we're still in the process of moving everything online. One of the challenges, the big challenges that I realize is that whether your business is on the ground or online, uh, the challenge that you're trying to overcome is, yes, when you have a business online, it does need to be treated like a business. You got your resource manager, you got your calendar, you got scheduling, you got people you need to talk to, different appointments, and you have to keep track of that. And where a lot of people get lost in the world of the internet is that it doesn't really feel like it is the business world, what they're used to, when actually by moving things online, yes, you're remote, you're able to set your own schedule, but you're your own boss. Now you're responsible for working with the people that, your prospects, working with the people who choose to work with you, taking in referrals, scheduling appointments. You're responsible for all of that. But the huge, like all that work that it takes, it is so rewarding because you get that time freedom. You get to choose. whether your actual job has a flex schedule or not, or you're locked into a 9 to 5, that system in place where you're working is providing all that for you. When you're doing work online, there is no income cap because you're the one that is creating it. No matter what business that you're using or what funnel system you're using, you're the one that's managing your time and deciding how far and how much am I going to get. It's
Yeah, I love the fact.
it's wild.
I love the fact of getting the options and put in front of you. I mean, whenever you work for somebody else, and maybe you do love what you do, work for somebody else. That. This video is not for those type of people, but these are the for people who are taking on some type of risk and creating their own path. So, having options and having the ability to decide on your own and making your own decisions. That is so attractive to me that maybe that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to become an entrepreneur, is because you get to decide how your life starts, goes, and finishes, really.
Yes, definitely. Uh, I think many people may have experienced this, and I'm going through this as well. So I think this might be a helpful knowledge to share. Uh, that not everyone is going to follow you. Oftentimes, because of the stigma that's attached to how it used to be a 20-year career to set up a business, and how people have spent tens and thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to start a business or buy a franchise, that there's a stigma attached to it that it takes so much work. How are you going to find the way to do it? Why are you neglecting us? And there's this family component that needs to be balanced too, and it's definitely not a perfect thing. It really isn't. But the great thing about internet marketing is that you can get started for such a low price compared to leasing out a storefront, getting all your product, getting all your all your tools, hiring your employees. There's so much work involved into that. And if you look at I follow Eric Worre quite often. I love the work that he does, and it really resonates with my team.
Who's that again?
As well as Eric Worre.
Oh, you told me about him. I didn't look into him yet.
Yes.
You mentioned him. I was like, I gotta look into this guy. Worre. It's WORR, right?
Yeah, WORRE.
RRE. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it's amazing because the things that he says really resonates with like who I am as a person, and that's someone I could follow and take bits and pieces, all that knowledge, put it in. And I've always been a quick learner, and when I put my mind to something, it's like go all in, and that's a huge strength, but it's also a big flaw too. That some of the people who are watching may even notice too, that I go all in, but my team's not going all in. Well, there's a problem there. Maybe you didn't take the time to listen to the people you're working with, and like you had mentioned earlier, 80%, and then the extra 20% you're kind of missing.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that we have found to resolve that is by listening instead. You ask the question, why now? What makes now a good time? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? Okay, and when you get that information, you could further help someone because you're listening. You're allowing yourself to listening. You're finding out what their objectives are, and you could steer them in that direction of how they could go and achieve those goals. Whether it's the system we have or the system that any other people have, it's the attraction component that helps you cover that 20%.
Yeah, and I think that there's so many different paths to take depending on like who you are, maybe where you live, what you're good at. The strengths and weaknesses plays a huge factor in your success and which route you should take. So is that what you do? You guide these people, you find out who they are at the core. Basically, I always talk to people when I ask them how do they want to be remembered in life. So I find out that first, and then you kind of connect the dots of how to get there. You reverse engineer it, as
Exactly.
everybody says. Yeah.
Yeah. The day I die, I want people to remember what it is that we have brought to this world. Not remember me as a person, but remember what it is that we have created and how we have been able to help so many lives, help people find the path that they've been searching for years, or they got off the path and they're back on the path that they want. I want people to remember that they have that choice, and when they take that huge leap of faith, that there are people there to support them. There's at least one person in the world that is there that will support them. That's what I want to create, that legacy, bring back that tradition that we lost, geez, over 100 years ago.
Yeah, the
When
what
entrepreneurship was so
the
huge.
pride of of going for it. Is that what you're saying? That type of
Yeah,
thing? Yeah,
that pride, yes.
I agree, man. And that's whatever what's happened with the politics this past year, and there seems to be a surge of like of patriotism. I've noticed recently,
Yeah.
and you're starting to notice that you know people. I don't think, and maybe this just happened over the past couple of years, but you're starting to see this. I can do mentality, maybe a belief. Are you starting to see it in your business too?
Yes, I am. And as soon as we changed some of the ways that we were doing business, we started noticing an immediate pickup. Uh, when we brought the attraction component in full time, we're in the process of creating a full system, but we have parts of the system that are available to bring people, uh, to meet a coach, learn about their goals and their fears and how to work through them. And when they get through that, they're able to make that conscious decision of, do they want to join us? If not, that's fine. But at least they got that consult to learn about what is it that they want in their life. And we also have a coaching platform to provide, daily teaching on that, working with people individually. And there's this relationship component to it that's so key. And when they decide what they want to do, they can go at full bore and know exactly where to go and know where the priorities are and know how to keep themselves balanced. And that's what I find is like the most important part, whether they decide to stay or go elsewhere. That's completely up to them because their life is theirs, not ours, not mine.
How like I said, I get people to write their. Sounds very morbid, but I get people to write
Yeah.
down their dream obituary on paper to get to
Yeah.
their vision. What's a technique that you use to get that? Because there's so many people I'm meeting that have no clue what they want. They don't even really know what makes them happy. They're they're afraid to take that jump. So maybe they don't know themselves yet. But what would you say to the people out there that just don't know themselves and they don't know where they're going? But what do you say to help them find it?
Right. Some The amount of time that you spend with someone is vastly different. If you got someone that knows what they want already, they're likely already on that path. And you may or may not be able to support them depending on where they're at. But the people who are absolutely unsure, that takes a lot of time in relationship building. And we don't want to leave anyone behind. We let people go at their own pace and help them discover themselves while we're providing this teaching. And when they're ready to go into business or to resolve a goal, we have Tuesday weekly breakthrough sessions where we provide a longer live in the private community for people to explain the breakthroughs that they've had over the past week. So we have those weekly benchmarks. And when someone's ready to go into business or they had success in their business, we celebrate people where they are. And
You should. You have to
when
celebrate
you're
every small little step,
yes,
every victory, no matter how big or small.
right. That's how we break through that barrier. Now, if someone is not ready, we'll know that, and we just keep that. We'll always keep that door open because you never know where someone is at, and that's where the initial contact. You learn where their pain points are, where their struggling is, what their goals are, and if they're unsure about any of that, and they just know that they want a better life, then we continue talking with them and fostering a relationship to help them kind of figure that out. And when they do figure it out, the doors start opening in their life, and that's something that they do need to see for themselves. That the light switch is over there. It's just right over there. They gotta go through the dark to find it. And you know,
I
and
like how you
there's
put that. That's
yeah,
beautiful. It's in the room. You just got to find it. It's
yeah,
there.
you gotta find it. Yeah. And if you need someone to support you with that, then we're there to walk with you along the way.
That was my next question. Are you more are you a high level or are you also on the ground helping them in operational wise?
I do both.
Okay.
When you're on the ground, people get to see like the work that you're doing, like the success that you're having. you want your team to see that too, because it's vastly important that if your upline or whoever your sponsor is doing the work and they're having great success, that increases momentum in your team. That people are having this amount of success, we're having this amount of success, our team is having the success. Let's go for it, guys, and it becomes a team effort. It reminds me of well, when I was in high school, I did cross country running and wrestling, and those are individual sports with a team component to it. And it really reminds me of that because your individual performance decides whether or not you're going to get your 100 wins in your career, or your team's going to win that meet, or your team wins states or nationals, wherever you're placed, that your own performance also adds to the team's performance. And those who are struggling, you really need to spend time with them to help them get to not where they should be, but where they want to be. And
Right.
where they want to be changes over time. And as a team leader, you want to provide that accountability, but you don't want to push too hard. You want to understand where they're coming from. That's where that listening component comes in, and that missing 20%. Once they are on your team, you want to spend that time and be patient with the person, but also run with your runners.
And I guess by doing that, their victory is your victory, and your victory is their victory. It's they're fighting their own battles, but when they win, you win also, and vice versa, right? It's how it's.
Yes.
I've never even heard that comparison where when you have a team, it's like being on the wrestling team. I was a hockey player, so I could see where you're coming from. Where basically your challenges, if somebody helps you along, you're gonna eventually be able to help them along too. Makes sense.
Right.
It's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
the difference of whether you're going to get the puck stolen from you or not, whether your goalie is going to have your back. And it's just wherever position that people are in, they have their own responsibility to provide value to the team because there is that team component. And if we view it like that as like if we use the example of a sport, that's where sportsmanship comes into play. Organization, personal accountability, personal growth, work practices. In business, you have your seminars, your trainings. It's the same thing. It's like just like for a ground job, you have your training, you get flown somewhere for a 5-day training, or you have orientation. It's all orienting you to the position that you're being placed in, and then your performance directly relates to the team's performance, no matter what type of contribution you are providing. And this is how people get promoted really high to really high ranks because they understand how that system works. You may call it brown nosing, in kind of like the corporate world, but what it actually is someone allowing themselves as a person to be open to learning from the people who have a higher stature. And while you may carry bags, but as Eric Worre says, carrying someone's bags opens up the door for you to ask questions, to learn about what brought this person to that place. There's this being a servant and being a servant leader, they really follow the same practice. It just depends where are you on the ladder at the moment and how are you going to achieve that goal to getting where you want to be.
That's it, man. I believe just asking the right questions. That's another reason why I love this show is people get to see and hear from people who are actually out there doing it. But I get to ask questions. I learn from people every day. And no matter how big you are in this life, you still see the professionals, like going back to the sports metaphors, the professionals practice 5-6 days out of the week. They're at the
I do.
highest level in the world. They're practicing still. You as an entrepreneur, no matter how big you get, you still can learn from other people, and you still need to ask questions to everybody around you because there's always more input that can help you make the better decision.
Right. Precisely. I could give you another example, and this is something that we don't really put too much attention to, but it's a stock market, the foreign exchange market. All the decisions are being decided in that live moment during the trading windows are based on emotion, calculation, but you could definitely see where the emotion is to buy or to put, and you follow that trend. If you're in the if you're in the do loop and you allow yourself to be in that trail, you're allowing yourself to be set up for that success. And it's noticing that pattern, just like how it is in business, how it is with relationships. It's really understanding, where am I in this moment and where should I be instead?
Yeah.
Doing that self-reflection in real time in your subconscious. A lot of the times, unconsciously, back of our heads, we don't realize that, how we're processing the information. And when we are able to harness that part of us or learn about that part of us, we can make those decisions, those responsible decisions in real time. It does take a lot of training, but that's where the team component comes into play, for your sponsors and your leaders to teach you those things. And oftentimes, I haven't seen many platforms that mix psychology or social work with entrepreneurship, but what I have seen is that the life coaches do an amazing job. And if you use them the correct way, then you're going to achieve your goals. If not, you're going to be stuck in that same place for a very long time.
Accountability. Why is it so difficult for employees to leave their job and become an entrepreneur? Is because accountability. Somebody is there watching the clock, making sure they show up. And so when you become an entrepreneur, you're accountable for yourself, your actions, your decisions, the results, your successes, your failures. And by having a life coach, I always think that you have somebody. It's a great transition, but it's always nice to have, no matter where you are in the spectrum of being an entrepreneur. It's you need to have somebody to kind of be your guide, but also to hold you accountable. I think it's a big piece to it all.
Your accountability buddy. If you imagine, I used to work at a Hannaford doing freight. My high school years until I was 21, something I don't quite remember, but I worked at the grocery store for about 5 years, and the way that we divided roles up in our little subgroups is that we had some people sorting because they were better at sorting. We had people putting up freight because they were better at that. When I was putting up like 150 plus pieces an hour, I was by far the fastest person on the team. But if you let that go to your head and say that I'm the leader here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm the manager, blah, 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 when you actually aren't, you're going to find yourself in, quite the struggle, because you're only listening to yourself, you're not listening to the team. There are people that possess their own strengths, and you provide that support where the weak leg is. And, you're only as strong as your weakest link, where that terminology comes from. That's when you have an awesome team. Let's say football teams, right? If you have an awesome team, your starters. If you have a really crappy starter, the players are going to have to make up for that deficiency. Exactly. And this is where you go in training camp and you train people to provide the adequate expertise in that certain position. And I know when you view it just like that, it really puts things into perspective. And just because you're doing work on the internet doesn't mean it's any different from anything else. There are systems in place to make sure that people are successful, and there are systems in place to keep people accountable. But those systems are absolutely wonderful because you are part of that system that's generating wealth. You're not part of the bottom of the system being an employee. You're actually implementing that system for your team. And that's the wonderful part about internet marketing, and just the vast amount of people that are now open for you to talk to. This is no longer a 20-year career, Mike. This is no longer a 4-year career. This can happen in a year.
Exactly. I'm telling you, things can change on a dime with the technology that we have. And I just came from a meeting before, and we always talk about, it could be just that one person that sees it. And that person puts you in another room. And that room, somebody else sees you, and that puts you in another room. And things can happen very fast. And I'm noticing that. The people I'm meeting and the stories they're telling me and how they became successful, people call it luck. Some people call it, being fortuitous timing. I'm telling you, man, you position yourself in leverage, and you put yourself in the right position.
You allowed
people
yourself
are going to find
be there. Yeah. I watched a video from Bet Patrick David the other day, and I know you've and he is the man. And so I actually find it hard to comment on his videos because he just provides such thorough information that you just watch it and you're like, man, I got this. Well, one of his latest videos was with the 52 cards. A deck of cards, you got 2 jokers, 4 aces, so on and so forth. And he was saying how 52 weeks in a year, can be summarized by 52 cards in a deck. And you start flipping through the cards once they're shuffled. Sometimes you'll draw a 2, sometimes you'll draw an 8, other times you'll get an ace. And his explanation of drawing a high numbered card is a huge week. And when you stay in and continue to learn and you draw that ace, you're going to know what to do with that ace. As opposed to the same thing, what are you going to do when you draw a 2? How are you going to keep yourself from falling off the wagon when you have a bad week or you lose some sales? Can you hold out longer? Can you hold out just enough time to draw that ace? And then when you get the wild card of a joker, you got 2 jokers in a deck. So twice a year, you'll get a huge boom in business. When you're going to get that, you don't know. But the more you position yourself, you're able to increase your odds of allowing yourself to take that sale and run with it and build your team, just to do something amazing with it. The same thing that you do when you draw a low card. And then that falls back into your mindset. I hear from one of our team members, it's 90% mindset, 10% skill. And with that mindset, you're able to control the outcome of that random card being dealt to you.
I have not seen that video yet, but I love Patrick Bet-David, so I'm going to look that video up after this. And I do believe it, man. No matter, I mean, I've been doing this 9 years. I've been in entrepreneurship. So early on, you're full of confidence, but you really have nothing to base it on because you just believe in yourself so much. But you're going to make so many mistakes. Eventually, after a couple of years, you have great judgment, way better judgment than you had before. So when you meet that right person, or let's just say an opportunity presents itself, you know what to do with it, and you have a better chance of winning. And I don't even think it's just in business. It's in life in general. Judgment becomes better across the board.
Agreed. There are a lot of principles that we teach. It's just like what's great about the coaching platform is that once everything is all finalized, we have a product right now already to distribute for people to learn, and it's actually free. We want to provide that value to people, and then when they decide what they want to do, and when they're ready, they could buy into something that they enjoy. Our mission is to help as many people as possible, and that's the wonderful part of it. We love helping people.
Website, and Facebook, Twitter, how do they reach you, man? Because I can tell right out of the gate, man, you're sincere and you really do mean everything. So, anybody watching this, you can get a good vibe from somebody just from even from videos. And I can tell that you really stand behind everything that you're selling here. So website, Facebook, Twitter, how do they reach you and get a hold of you, man?
Hi. I'd love to meet people first. That's first and foremost. You could reach me on Facebook is where my main hub is. Everything else just kind of YouTube, Twitter, all that just funnels into my Facebook anyway.
Okay.
You could find me on Facebook, and my
just
business
Nathan
page
Lizotte.
is and my business page is Wealth with Nathan.
Okay.
What's another thing I want to touch base on before I just get into all that contact information? What's more important is that once the entire system is rolled out, the platform is going to be able to allow people to come in and choose a coach that fits their personality type, that fit that correct match. Just like we fit therapists to the correct family, so the best work can be brought by the therapist as well as the family to really edify that we're there to help. And whenever we ask for support, up in the clouds, that we're edifying each other and just promoting positivity across the board. And that's what we're truly trying to give people, is that positive value rather than the negative stuff that we tend to get soaked up in on a daily basis. I mean, I could go into the theory of energy if you got time for that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to hear it. Regardless, I'd still like to talk to you after this because, what you're saying all resonates with what I've been through and what I've learned too. So it all makes sense. And, I would love to even have you back on in a couple months to hear your progress, hear where you're taking it, because obviously,
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Every couple months, I think people got to be, touch base to see where they're at and what they've accomplished. it's us holding you accountable, and we want to hear you where you're at in life, you
Right.
know. So
That's awesome.
that'd be great, man. Positivity, obviously, I love talking about that too because there's so much negativity out there. People see people trying to make in this world, and they want to drag them down so they don't feel as bad about their life.
Yeah.
But negativity is it seems like it's the louder of the two. And as you know, the more people
Yeah.
out there doing what you're doing can help those people who need inspiration and motivation to get through the darkest days and get out of that negativity circle that they're in. So it's good stuff, man.
Yes. It's definitely
I love it, man.
awesome.
Yes, a couple months. I want to hear more. And anything else that you want to share? Any other ways to reach you, or anything you're offering? Any specials going on, or anything like that?
Right. Okay. Let me situate myself here. So, my name's Nathan Lizotte. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me Wealth with Nathan, my Facebook page. But the best place to meet me is on Facebook. The actual website that we have that introduces you to the formula that we have to help you create your goals, implement them, and have success in your life. You can find me at freedom.wealthwithnathan.com.
Beautiful.
But I
And
do encourage you to contact me first.
yeah, and when you say meet, do you like doing Skype sessions? Do you like doing FaceTime? Is that how you meet?
It's whatever's most comfortable. We work with people outside the country too, and so we would use a Google phone number to call them. Uh, if they're more comfortable on Facebook, then we provide that conversation on Facebook. And we think it's really important that whenever someone's meeting a new team member or a prospect, that when we set up a meeting with with the life coach or whoever coach is assigned, that you have that three-way meeting so you can introduce and really edify the positivity, and that flows through the entire board too. So yes, Facebook. We do Facebook calls. We do Skype calls. Whatever platform that you're most comfortable with, we'll find a way to work with you on that.
Awesome, man. And I'm really looking forward to meeting your friend. I think his name's Luke.
Luke, yes.
I'm looking forward to it. So I'm gonna be meeting with him this week. So thanks a lot for connecting us there too.
Yeah, you're welcome. When you start talking to me, I watch your show. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. You know what? Luke is really gonna love this too.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody's got something to share with another person. And I went to an entrepreneur think tank last year, and we all had to teach each other something every week. And I'm realizing no matter what industry you're in, you can learn something from somebody, and that's what
Right.
is really the
Yes.
brainchild of this whole American entrepreneur thing.
Let's do it. Let's help as many lives as possible, Mike.
You got it, man. Let's say it's going to be a good year, and I hope you kick ass this year, man. 2017, the year of the entrepreneur, I say.
That's right. The rise of the entrepreneur. So
Well,
I love what you do, Mike. Keep doing it, man.
thanks, man.
It's amazing.
I really appreciate it, man. We're going to keep rolling and hopefully inspire a lot of people. So thanks a lot for being part of this, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, if you're out there and you're an entrepreneur, you have something to share with another person, we want to hear your story. Reach out to us. Remember, guys, the American entrepreneur will always create more. Happy New Year.